while Villa may have struck first, PSG came back with 3 unanswered to take a 3-1 aggregate score into Villa Park, a very difficult place to play. And Mike Lahoud is now going to take us under the hood to show us why PSG were able to be so dominant in that first leg. Mike, you ready to go?
I want to talk about this PSG side, and I'm going to go, as I say, not those 2 guys, but Vitinha. As we go under the hood, we're going to go and really dissect what makes this PSG side special. It's these 2 players. Yes, the front 3 is awesome, but these 2 guys, Vitinha and João Neves, you could argue, after maybe Frenkie de Jong and the likes of Pedri, they're up there in the conversation for the best midfield duo in this current Champions League right now.
Okay.
And it shows in the numbers. Yes, you know that João Neves and Vitinha, they can pass, they can play tiki-taka, they can control the metronome. But this right here is what I see. As a midfielder, you got to have balance. You have your fire and your ice. Vitinha and João Neves. João Neves, he played for Benfica. He's naturally a defensive midfielder, and the tackles, the way he wins the balls, the way he brings a sense of calm, it really complements Vitinha, and then they get the ball to their front 3 and they cook. It's just amazing to me because when you look at all the metrics, when you look at all the stats and the touches, these are 2 players. I love all this stuff, pass completion. I mean, they can dictate games. We saw it at Anfield where they dictated that game for large parts. But in the Champions League, what I love is they bring a steal. The tackles right there between the 2 of them, and the leading tackler in the Champions League right now, this guy, he's been the key difference for me, where he brings that steal to this PSG side in previous iterations has lacked in the biggest matches.
Can I tell you where João Neves sets his game apart from everybody else? What really makes him that difference maker? It's the tucked-in shirt.
That's
Absolutely
it.
classic.
That is the key. That's the key right there. And Mike, you know who the direct beneficiaries are of that play in the midfield? Is PSG's front 3. So how have you seen them really just take what the midfield players are helping create for them?
Well, they stretch you so wide, right? And with Ousmane Dembélé, who can function as a false 9, when he comes in, you never see one of the wide players coming in and making these darting runs. And him and Kvaratskhelia, they have the freedom to go wherever the hell they want. And we see it on that 3rd goal where Ousmane Dembélé and Kvaratskhelia, they form almost a box where you have your 2 defensive midfielders come, and then as a midfielder, if you go this way, you're caught there. If you come here, and they overload the midfield. But this kid right here, Dembélé Doué, he is my rising star of the Champions League this campaign. And they breed confidence that you can go and you can be direct. But this kid, the way he comes up with special moments as of late in the last month and a half, he gives them a 3rd dimension that I don't think any team in Europe right now could live with. So this front 3, in my opinion, they're as scary as Barcelona's front 3 with the way they're playing.
Well, a special player and what they hope PSG to be a special run in the Champions League, but they'll have to get past Aston Villa at Villa Park with a 2-goal lead, the most dangerous in sports. What are the keys for Villa if they're going to try to come back and ruin the party for PSG?
Yeah, this one had me thinking for a while because I don't have the answers, and I don't know what's the right solution to take the control away from PSG, because you got to get into the game. So I've got 3 things that maybe you got to do. Of course, it's getting that early goal. Sure, like get that early goal somehow, however it comes. They did get the early goal last time out, so it was a different dynamic. Let's see if they can replicate a little bit of that energy. Not the same type of game plan, because if you're sitting back, you don't get into the game, and more often than not, you won't find that early goal. Don't allow Vitinha to find those outlets, right? Stifle the game. And that's where you got to think of how, if you're playing Onana, if you're playing Kamara, who's Tielemans' partners? Are you going with McGinn? Are you going with Asensio again? To try to not have this guy so activated. And then it's another big game from Dibu Martinez, which is the other one. Of course, you need your goalkeeper to respond, and he's going to have a good game, because I don't envision a quiet game for the Aston Villa goalkeeper. PSG's going to come at you. But I think, to everything that you've been saying, Lahoud, how do you do this? Because you want to have numbers on numbers. You don't want to be suffering that overload. And it feels like at certain points, if you do go all out attack, you will suffer those overloads, especially in the midfield, right? Considering if you do play everybody, Asensio and all of your guys together, Watkins or Rashford, doesn't matter. You want to dictate a little bit more than you possibly could in the first leg. If it was 2-1, I think there'd be more of a chance of Villa, and maybe Villa would have been a little bit more defensive.
Yeah, that third goal was a killer.
Yeah.
You don't have that luxury right now. You have to go for the game. You have to get into the game.
Yeah.
And the way that PSG's been playing, the way that they're just able to really look at you and be like, okay, here's a ball. Give me
Snatch your soul.
they take the onus off
Yeah.
you. They did it to Liverpool, which was the most impressive thing. No team has been able to do that to Liverpool this season for so long, and they were literally able to just look at them and say, all right, we want the ball, we're going to play on your turf. So that was pretty impressive, and I think they're going to do the same thing.
All right, Lahoud, you saw the keys. What do you think?
Look, I think it's exceptional, and everything you pointed out. Dibu Martinez, when you look at how it was 2-1, he had some big saves early on, and then they go and smash them in the mouth. You know, incredible performance from him. And outside of two worldies and that third goal, Aston Villa were feeling good about themselves. On the other end, though, this PSG side, they're not infallible. They're not fully invincible just yet. Those fullbacks. We saw how Aston Villa, when they got that first goal, I said when we did the preview, Nuno Mendes, I'm going to say Nuno Mendes because I'm trying to up my Portuguese, as my English instructor here, Portuguese instructor always tells me. But he has mistakes in him. We've seen it in the Champions League. And both fullbacks cannot be high at the same time. The goal that Aston Villa scores, because both fullbacks are PSG, they have the license to get forward. But now you have the lead. I want to see the maturation process from Luis Enrique's side. Can you manage? Is Hakimi your outlet to go forward? And does Hakimi have the discipline to then come back and now allow Mendes to go forward? Because if both go up, then Ollie Watkins, send the brigade, send everyone. That plays right into Villa's hands.
All right, time for predictions, boys. What do you think is going to happen?
PSG 2, Aston Villa 1.
Yeah.
PSG's going to win this. And Aston Villa's been unbeaten at home for the last 16 games?
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like, and we don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, because while Arsenal are up 3-0 on Real Madrid, they have to go to the Bernabeu, and Real Madrid, this is a team that you can never really count them out. But if it all kind of stays the way it is right now, that could mean we see a PSG-Arsenal semifinal. Who do you favor in that tie?
Well, we're getting ahead. I think PSG in that sense. But let's
we still got
tomorrow. What type of game do you envision Arsenal going out to the Bernabeu and playing?
If they play with a handbrake on, they're going to get absolutely punished. If they go out all-out attack, they're inviting trouble. So they've got to find that halfway house. But I think that where the real danger lies is for Real Madrid, because it literally is all or nothing for them. They can afford to be on the front foot. They've got to be. They've got to score 3 goals. So they are going to be gung-ho. We know they're not that strong at defending anyway. I think it's going to be a massive first half, big 20 or 30 minutes. And the key for me will be Arsenal's mentality. They should go through, given the scoreline from the first leg, but this is not done. This is not done at all. This will be a huge test, an absolutely huge test of Mikel Arteta and Arsenal's mentality. That's what we're going to see. Do they really believe? Do they really think they've got what it takes? Was that a one-off against Madrid at the Emirates, or can they get the job done? It is a massive test for them.
And Jeff, I think Mikel Arteta will probably get to his team and have that speech prepared so that they do come out, firing, as you say. So my question is, how many minutes will it take for them to park the 2 buses in front of their goal and try and preserve that 3-0 lead?
Yeah, but Benny, don't forget they don't concede many goals anyway. Arsenal, they don't. I don't think they've conceded 3 in one game this season. So they are strong defensively, but there's a big difference though between being strong defensively against a team who have got, as I just said, nothing to lose. They're going to come at you hammer and tongs. So I don't think Arsenal can afford, because if they, it's like you've played the game, you sit back. You camp on the edge of your own area, you're in big, put something on the opposition. You've got to ask questions of them. You can't go there thinking we're 3-0 up, we've just got to protect that and we'll be fine. Yes, of course, they won't be attacking with as much zeal as they did in the first leg, but at the same time, they cannot afford to invite Real Madrid onto them. There's too much attacking talent in that Madrid team.
Say Arsenal do what a lot of people may think they may not do and get through this Champions League tie. they defeat the reigning European champions. How will that change expectations for them moving forward in the rest of the competition?
I would say absolutely zero if they're coming up against PSG, Lahoud. It really would. I mean, I think PSG are the outstanding team. It would be great. It would be a management career. It would be the moment of the season for Arsenal if they managed to go through against Real Madrid. And yes, we know, they've beaten PSG already. But I said this before this time, even if Arsenal beat Madrid, there are a lot better teams left in the competition. This is nothing like the mighty Real Madrid we've seen of old. I mean, they scraped past Alaves at the weekend, relegation threatened side. Also as well, Dani Ceballos should be back from injury. He's been Madrid's arguably their best player this season. He's been absolutely superb. He really makes them tick. So, it's really difficult. We'll probably talk Aston Villa, PSG shortly, but the quality, the further you go in the competition, the tougher it gets. Yes, it would be a significant moment for Arsenal. They've had that wonderful night at the Emirates. Does it mean they're going to go and win the competition? Not remotely.
All right, Jeff, so all that said, what is your prediction? Do Arsenal get past Real Madrid with the 3-0 advantage?
I think they will, but in the words of Sir Alex Ferguson, this will be squeaky bum time. This is going to be a nervy night for Arsenal supporters. Those that aren't there will be watching from behind a cushion. And particularly, I mean, if Madrid score in the first 10, 15 minutes, they can get 2 goals like that, Real Madrid.
Oh, we know.
All of a sudden, the atmosphere changes completely. And it's all on Arsenal then. So, and don't forget, Kvaratskhelia did well the other night, but there's still no Gabriel. So it's going to be a tough, they're going to need to be resilient physically and mentally. My gut feel is they will get through just.
Now, Barcelona, they've been enjoying a dream season so far, and they're considered the favorites to win Champions League. But one former Barcelona star doesn't consider them as clear a pick as most. Former Barcelona captain and manager Ronald Koeman said, quote, Barca are not the big favorites for the Champions League. There are other teams playing at the same level, PSG, Arsenal, who I saw at the level of winning the Champions League. Koeman didn't stop there. The Dutch legend also added that he believes the 1991-1992 Barcelona team that he led to a European Cup title was better than the current Barcelona squad. Nico, his comment on Barcelona not being clear favorites, it wasn't too crazy, but what do you think about him comparing the Barcelona team now to his 91-92 team?
I mean, it's incomparable at this point. This team hasn't won anything, and his team was the dream team of 92. They won the European Cup and then got to another Champions League final the year after. You look at this team in Hristos Stoichkov, Jose Mari Vaquero, Michael Laudrup, Guardiola. Look at that midfield with Ronald Koeman in defense and Zubizarreta, who was an iconic goalkeeper for that Barcelona team. I mean, it's simply sensational, right? They won. So what are you doing comparing? I wonder in what context the question was asked, right? But of course, your team that won the Champions League is better than this team that hasn't won absolutely anything yet. Like, compare it to the 2010 team, and then let's talk a little bit about teams that have won the same trophy and put them side by side.
Oh.
I want whatever beer Ronald Koeman is having when he said that statement, because I don't see what he's talking about right now. I hear what you're saying about they haven't won.
What?
They haven't won anything. That this 92 Barcelona side could beat this current Barcelona side.
You think he's?
I think he's wrong. I think he's bugging.
Okay.
I think he's bugging.
Nico, do you think he's bugging?
I think he's bugging. I would
respect a little bit a team that won the European Cup.
Look, the players that they have, Hristos Stoichkov, Ballon d'Or winner, right? What he did in that Champions League. Michael Laudrup, what he did in 1992 Champions League and European Championships. Love that. Respect the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Barcelona have European champions as well. They have Champions League winners. They have a guy, a striker, who I think would be the difference because that back line was not quick. Mm-hmm. And what they were able to do in terms of tiki-taka and move the ball around, this team can tiki-taka as well. But I just think the way Barcelona played now, how direct they were, that Barcelona side, I think the back line would struggle. Just my opinion.
I mean, if you're comparing generations, it's like you're comparing a team from the 2025 to a team from the early 1990s. Like, sure, I just think it was an easy comment from Koeman saying that his team that won everything is better than this team that hasn't won anything yet.
Because they'll never have to play him. So we'll never know.
I think it's a bitter comment from Ronald Koeman.
The
Yeah,
comparisons
I think it's
are
a
always going to
bitter
be
comment.
tough. Right?
That's where
Comparisons
my
are always
stick
going to be
is.
tough. And just to add to one of your points, I think in 5 years from now or even less, you might have a player on the current team that we're talking about, not in the exact same light as Lionel Messi, but potentially.